So these movies just did something I didn't think was possible. They got fucking worse. Hey guys, this is my review for The Last Night. Holy shit, I still got the 3D glasses on my head. Alright, I did not have high expectations going into The Last Night. The Age of Extinction was almost 3 hours long of utter boredom and bullshit and extremely terrible product placement. And it just had no life into it. Admittedly, the last three didn't have much life into it either, but at least the first three were consistent. They just somehow kept on bringing up some new Doomsday featurette in each one, but at least we had all grounded characters, we had grounded Transformers. This one doesn't even give a shit. It doesn't even try. We don't even get introduced to the name of that little girl for like 15 minutes in. And you realize it doesn't matter because oddly enough, okay, first things, wait, I gotta go back one bit. The beginning with King Arthur was actually kind of interesting because of how intense the shots were, how bullshit it was, but it was actually kind of interesting. And then I saw Stanley Tucci as Merlin and I was going, holy shit, I cannot believe what's going on. And then it jumps to current day. And this movie, I can't show all my fingers, but this movie was edited by no less than 6 people. And it fucking shows because it's chopped to shit. Honestly, the first 3/4 of this film after the King Arthur bit are awful. It's kind of like that. It's got like the Resident Evil afterlife, or was it the final chapter feel? Not as bad, but more so. We're jumping parts. Like, I have a feeling this movie was heavily edited down from what the amount of footage that was actually given, because there's parts where there's like a part that's missing in between of the edit. Say you go to sit down and then all of a sudden they cut and he's sitting down already. It's terrible. It happens throughout the first 3/4 of the film and it's so aggravating. It is unbelievably bad. I cannot believe how this shit got through. Mark Wahlberg's going around and there's this British woman, and Anthony Hopkins, honestly, Anthony Hopkins is actually just channeling exactly who he was in Bram Stoker's Dracula, the film by Francis Ford Coppola, where he was like, ha ha, be to the damned. He's basically that in this movie. It is ridiculous how he's actually the most entertaining part, and he's bullshit. But there is one part I will make a point of. There's one part in this movie that is actually funny, and it actually makes a joke on the whole idea of over-dramatic music in a heavily exposition, Tale of Destiny sort of situation. That is the one joke you get, Michael Bay. However, this movie doesn't even have any of the character. Well, there wasn't much to begin with, but literally, this movie is just scraping by. And what's even worse is there's no action. Yeah, there's a lot of explosions. Like, I swear all the money went into the beginning and then went to the end. Because the end is because there's not even a real fight scene. There's no real Transformer fight. Megatron's in it again and somehow he escapes again. Oh, by the way, apparently Transformers have been on the Earth ever since King Arthur. They were even in the Second World War. Apparently Bumblebee was in the Second World War, even though he clearly landed on the planet in the beginning of the first movie. So this doesn't make any sense. He's like trying to rewrite his shit, except it's just as obvious as Paul W.S. Anderson was in the final chapter of Resident Evil. I actually cannot believe I am admitting this, but this movie is worse than The Age of Extinction. Yes, Age of Extinction was terrible. It was long, it was boring, but at least it was decently paced. Okay, no, the pacing was awful because you just kept wanting to end. But it was edited in a way that was cohesive. This movie is not. It is edited by 6 fucking people. And it's still terrible. I was having more fun just thinking about how the other ones were better the whole time throughout this whole film. And it is amazing that I am going to admit this. But The Last Night, funny enough, is a 1 out of 7. It is the worst one in the entire series. Admittedly, Age of Extinction would probably get a 1 as well, because that one was boring. But there's not a single interesting fight scene. Think about it, for any of you who have seen it. What was an interesting fight scene that you could think of that was between 2 Transformers? There's none. They end in like 10 seconds. There's one they build up with this big, cool demon head looking fucking thing, and Optimus kills him in 10 strikes. And it's joy. So, anyways, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with fucking Michael Bay and Transformers. They even set this shit up for one that's like, they didn't even accomplish anything. So, that is my really angry review of The Last Night. I wasted money. I thought I'd use a coupon, so I don't feel like I gave Michael Bay all of my money. But fuck you, Bay. You had me. You had me back with Benghazi, The Secret Hours, because that was actually a decent movie. Sure, there was some silliness in it, but you actually had characters. And you just threw that shit out the window. That's it. I'm done. Bye.